Channel 4 accused of religious insensitivity by SAS Who Dares Wins contestant. The program makers need to take these kinds of things into consideration. This has got to be one of the stupidest takes of all time. I cannot actually believe that I am reading this. I have lost all hope in humanity. This is so stupid. A little known fact, I'm kind of obsessed with the TV program SAS Who Dares Wins, and I'm heavily invested in it, which is why this headline just seemed so ridiculous to me. But before I go into why the headline and the story is ridiculous, I have to explain to you guys what the SAS is. Founded in 1941, the Special Air Service, SAS, is the British Army's most renowned special forces unit. From the moment several black-clad figures appeared on the balconies of the Iranian embassy in London in 1980, the Special Air Service became celebrities, both at home and overseas. Their motto, "Who Dares Wins," has become part of British popular culture. The SAS are regarded as the elites of the military, performing extremely dangerous and difficult tasks under pressure. Some of the roles the unit performs includes hostage rescue, direct action, and covert reconnaissance. These men and women who were permitted to enter the SAS in 2019 have performed under extreme conditions, including deserts and Arctic conditions. Possibly the most infamous part of the SAS is their training techniques when it comes to preparing people for being possibly taken hostage, interrogated, and tortured. The techniques used here are not permitted by the British Army as a whole, only the SAS, and while little is known about the training, some report that there have been simulations of beatings, repetitive, loud noises being played to them, humiliation, being stripped down in freezing conditions. All of these things have to be endured by recruits in order to prepare for a situation in which they may be tortured this way. They may be taken in and be forced to listen to loud, sharp noises or repetitive music or horrible sounds. They may be stripped down in freezing conditions. They will be put in difficult positions that they have to sit in for hours, known as stress positions. They will be violently and aggressively questioned. They may be beaten or be forced to watch one of their fellow soldiers be beaten in front of them. They may be dehydrated, starved, or sleep deprived, and all of these things are simulated to prepare them for the event in which they may be captured, which is known as resistance to interrogation training. SAS Who Dares Wins, on the other hand, is a reality quasi-military training television program produced by Channel 4 in the UK. First airing in 2015, the TV show pits contestants in harsh environments all around the world in a 2-week-long training course that is designed to replicate Special Air Service selection, a notoriously difficult program that has been known to claim the lives of those who take it on. In real SAS selection processes, only around 10% of those who enter actually get through to being part of the SAS. Some of the things that make it ridiculously hard to get through is the immense amount of physical and mental pressure that is placed on these people, both in the real-life selection and in the show. Former SAS members take part in instructing these contestants to see if they could actually be a part of the SAS in a replica of their own training. Many different tactics are deployed throughout the course of the show to test these people, to replicate what the SAS soldiers went through in order to become part of the SAS, and to see if these people would be able to do the same thing. They have to test them physically. They have to wear them out. Physically, they are run down. They are forced to perform a lot of physical tasks, such as doing laps, sprinting, holding rocks above their head. But a lot of this is linked to their mental strength. Can they actually bring themselves to do this? Can they actually bring themselves to jumping off a cliff into water? Can they descend off the top of a mountain forwards? Can they, after hours of no sleep, no food, no water, be able to not give away information during a hostage situation, which is performed towards the end phases of the training? So let's get on to this ridiculous article published on the 10th of May of this year and find out why exactly it's a ridiculous article. Shireen Khan, who appeared on last night's May 9th episode, called the show an incredible experience and something that will live with me forever, but claimed in the Mail Online that cultural insensitivity towards my Muslim faith and being a woman held me back. Just going to say one thing before anything else. This is training you for what SAS soldiers face in the real world when dealing with the enemy. The enemy will not care if you're a Muslim and will not care if you're a woman. You are the enemy and they want information out of you or they want you yeeted. This is the way it is. This is what every man and woman of any colour and any faith in the SAS has to deal with. You will not get special treatment from the enemy for being these things. Before entering the show, you should have known that this is a direct replication, or as accurate a replication as can be, of real SAS selection. You should have known what was ahead of you. She explained that she could not strip off after a challenge due to her faith and had to keep on wet clothes, risking hypothermia. Darling, they are replicating things that can happen. In Arctic conditions, you get wet clothes, you strip. It doesn't matter that you are a woman. It doesn't matter if you are a Muslim. In that situation, you strip because otherwise you can get hypothermia and you can die. A trans woman, Holly, went through the exact same thing that you did and had no problems stripping in front of other people because she was aware that she had entered a show that included replications of SAS training. She also stated that she wasn't comfortable using an outdoor bucket as a toilet while men were around. So what are you hoping to do if this was a war zone? Because that's what you entered this show for, to have an experience of training that will be implemented in warfare. Were you under the impression that in real-world warfare, which is what this training is meant for, they bring porta potties for people like you? The next part says, was offered a vegetarian meal rather than a halal one. Bitch, you were lucky to get a vegetarian meal. On the front, guess what? They don't have Uber Eats. They're not going to get you a halal meal because you asked for it. You eat what you're given on the front lines. And if you're ever captured, you'll be lucky if you eat anything. I believe that there needs to be greater diversity on the show, and the only way you can do that is by being more aware of cultural sensitivity, she added. These are all barriers that are preventing people from diverse backgrounds from participating in Who Dares Wins and even joining the British Armed Forces. No, it's not. You are going to be treated like everybody else. There are people from all races, religions, gender identities, sexualities, what have you, in the British Armed Forces. However, it's not the British Armed Forces that needs to change because it is risking their lives and other people's lives if they train you differently because you don't want to partake in certain things. While, of course, this woman is by no means going to go on and join the SAS, evidently not, this is still what the show is aiming to do, to somewhat replicate SAS selection processes. They are not going to change things for you. We cannot have people not taking off freezing wet clothing in Arctic conditions because it is dangerous and it slows the other people down if you have to move away and get changed privately, because that's dangerous. That's not going to be able to happen in a real world war zone. You are not going to have that opportunity. If you need to go to the toilet, you need to go to the toilet in a bucket with everybody else. If we start changing procedures in a show that is meant to replicate SAS training, it defeats the point, because that's not going to happen in the real world. In the real world, in a real war zone, you are not going to get certain things done for you because you need it. You are not entitled to that. People cannot risk their lives and their safety to take extra measures like taking more time to get changed privately or going out of their way to not see you undress, because it wastes time and it can sabotage a mission where things have to be done as quickly as possibly, in time efficiency as possibly, because a few seconds could be the difference between life and death. And that covers my point about people even joining the British Armed Forces. The British Armed Forces are not going to cater to you. You are there to do your service. You are there to do your job. And there are going to be no extra things for you. Nothing's going to change for you. You will be treated like every other person. And this is what makes me so angry about this entire thing. Holly, the trans woman, did what was required of her, because nothing is going to change for her. If she wants to be treated like an equal, she has to do what everybody else does. In the real British Armed Forces, you are going to have to strip in front of other people. You are going to have to go to the toilet next to other people. You're going to have to eat what they eat. Because in a war zone, it is a luxury to have the things that you want. And if this doesn't align with your beliefs and morals, don't try out for this show. Don't try and enter the British Armed Forces, because it is not a walk in the park. I guess that's it for my rant. It just makes me so angry when people demand things in situations where they aren't entitled to it. This isn't them trying to stop her from being a woman or being a Muslim because they want to suppress her or something. It's a safety issue. We have to do things quick. We can't have extra allowances and spend extra time doing other things, because again, this is a replication of what SAS soldiers would actually go through during selection. We don't have time for that stuff. It wastes time, it can put people in danger, and if your beliefs don't align with that sort of thing, then don't sign up for a show. It's like super easy. Common sense. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.